So I was just watching Zelda Master, as you do. He was talking about Zelda and E3 and all that good stuff. And not 2 minutes into the video, I stopped watching and I went to formulate. Specifically, he was talking about Link's Awakening and Breath of the Wild, and although I had seen people talk about possibilities of the next big Zelda game being based on Breath of the Wild, I thought I could add something to it that no one else had, that I had noticed nobody else talked about. But anyway, if you've been following this topic at all for the past few weeks, then you probably heard people say that we shouldn't be expecting anything substantial to the series for a while, specifically a few more years. And that A Link's Awakening is just to hold us over a few more years, just like the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD remakes did for Breath of the Wild. That could be BS, but maybe it's not. I just hate to think that it is, because I really want the next game to come out soon so badly. The other side of things you might have heard people talking about is what Nintendo did with Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time on the N64. As you might know, the Ocarina of Time was Nintendo's first big 3D Zelda game. Released in November 21, 1998, after 3 of what seemed like the longest years ever, it was an incredibly huge success. And even despite commercials like this one, there was not a single soul on this earth that didn't like the game. That's an exaggeration. Then, to the world's amazement, on April 27, 2000, Majora's Mask was released. Yes, exactly 1.5 years later, built on the exact same engine and using the exact same assets from Ocarina of Time. Behold, Majora's Mask. Some say that because Majora's Mask was released 2 years after Ocarina of Time and built off the same engine, why can't the next Zelda game follow in its footsteps and be built off of the engine and assets of Breath? I mean, if that were to happen, which it could, I wouldn't be mad in the slightest. I would imagine, though, that there would be more of a specific storyline or something so that's not quite like Breath, but yeah, it'd still be fantastic. Thinking realistically, I don't think Nintendo would do that to themselves. No. From just a casual player's standpoint, it could just seem like another Breath of the Wild, just like the Wii U was just another Wii, but with a fancy Nintendo iPad on top of it. People would miss the point. No, instead, I think Nintendo is going to spend a few more years on it and make it even better. I know it's hard coming back even better after Breath of the Wild, but I have faith. Here's my take on things. Breath of the Wild was released back in 2017, about 2 years ago. Because Nintendo knows how and what the fans are thinking and how much they want a sequel to Breath, they've likely already begun development based mainly off the original Breath engine. As 2 years have gone by with no Breath 2, Nintendo is handing us a remake of Link's Adventure to keep us happy while we wait some more. The way I think about this is like you would give a child a snack on a road trip while he's waiting to go and get a meal. Also, I want to mention something that shouldn't be overlooked. That is the cadence of Hyrule. While not being canon to the series, it's still important to note that Nintendo is probably using this as their second filler game to hold us over a bit longer. Since they were not super involved in it, perhaps that means they've really been busy, tasked with the job of one-upping Breath of the Wild and keeping up the good work. I've seen some interviews with Aonuma talking about going back to a more structured, more linear way of playing, as opposed to such an open world kind of concept that made Breath of the Wild so great. Personally, I would be fine with a more linear gameplay, but I'd rather not just scrap the open world idea completely, and I don't think Nintendo is going to do that to us either. They know what they want, they know what we want, and they're just taking their time to make sure they get the mix just right. I don't know how to change topics, so I'll just say I'm changing topics. What I loved about Breath of the Wild. It's no secret that Breath of the Wild was a great game, and there were a lot of really great things about it that I think everyone can relate to and agree with. Things like the open world, all the side quests and shrine quests to keep you busy, and the freedom to adventure on your own time were all major selling points for the game. In fact, as of April 2018, Breath of the Wild sales from the Switch and the Wii U had reached 10 million unit sales worldwide. If you don't count any of the Legend of Zelda remakes, like the Wind Waker HD, for example, and only original sales, which is why I wouldn't necessarily count Breath of the Wild 4K that releases in 2023 in this either. Gosh, I really hope that that's not Nintendo's plan for the next big one. Think positive, think positive. But yeah, if you only count original sales, then Breath tops them all. The previous title holder in that area was Twilight Princess, with under 9 million copies under its belt. I might not be that great at math, but I'm pretty sure 10 is a bigger number than 9. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get away from all those stats and boring stuff, and let's talk about me. Aside from that nonsense and what I already said, there's actually a lot more that I really enjoyed about it. I mean, I really enjoyed the horses. A lot, actually. The fact that you could just take any horse you wanted and make it your own, then ride around for hours anywhere you want, and then even customize them after that. It's just so fun to me. I mean, with all the things you could do with that part of it, you could just turn it into its own separate game. Another thing I really loved about Zelda was the fighting. I hadn't played many 3D Zelda games until the Wind Waker HD remake came out. The fighting in that one was kind of lame, but it was funny to see those tiny little legs trying to crouch even more than they already were. Breath of the Wild's fighting is so intuitive and requires so much strategy. I mean, just the fact that the weapons break, you already have to think about everything you do. Do you want to use this sword? It's close to breaking. Do you want to use block or dodge? You only have one shield left. Should I use arrows? Is it worth it? I mean, everything going into the fight is different and it's so awesome. I love it so much. Okay, don't worry, I'm almost done here. The last thing I'll make you listen to me rant about is the crazy detail in everything. I mean, you start the game standing outside the Shrine of Resurrection, and you can see Death Mountain, which is half a world away, Hyrule Castle, way off in the distance, and the forest below in such amazing detail. And then close up even, just look at the grass, the bugs, the animals, the weather, the mountains, the sky, just look at anything. It's crazy. Also, like I mentioned earlier, we're supposed to be getting a 4K Breath of the Wild in 2023 for the Switch. Imagine how that'll look. I can't wait. Well, I think at the beginning of the video, I had some kind of point. I'm pretty sure what I was going to say was that all these factors are probably not going to go away in the next big Zelda installment, and yada yada yada, so. Anyway, I don't think we'll see a sequel to Breath for another 2 or 3 years, and I bet it'll be bigger than ever. Or a complete letdown. But let's not think about that right now. So just a real quick announcement. So some of my cables broke, so I don't know if I'll be able to do the live stream by Saturday. So sorry about that, but I'm working hard to try and figure out what's happening. Thanks so much for watching, guys. It took a lot of time and effort to make this video. If you would consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel, it would mean a whole lot to me. If you don't, well, just hope you can sleep at night knowing that you just broke a poor little man's heart. Okay, thanks.